Monday Health Minutes, sponsored by Valley Health.
Hi, I'm Melanie Schaefer. This is Monday Health Minutes. Did you know that 42% of the population is vitamin D deficient? It's a big number, and it can make a big difference on how you feel and your overall health. So we're talking with Dr. David Whitmore about that today. The numbers are pretty big. This affects a lot of people.
Yes. Worldwide, it affects about 1 billion people. And if you look at other individuals in general, 50% actually have vitamin D insufficiency. And then you can kind of further break that down in ethnicity. And in the African American population, it's about 43% deficient in vitamin D. In the Caucasian population, it's right at 27%.
Okay, so ethnicity does seem to make a difference,
yes,
number-wise.
It does, absolutely.
Let's talk about what it means to be vitamin D deficient. How does that impact your health?
Vitamin D, most people who have vitamin D deficiency really don't know they have vitamin D deficiency. And so a lot of times your doctor or provider will do lab work to check your vitamin D because it's so prevalent. And the things that cause vitamin D deficiency, and well, most people have vitamin D deficiency are asymptomatic. They don't realize they have it until we do lab work. But there are people that have vitamin D deficiency that can present with bone pain. They can present with muscle cramps, muscle ache. They can present with mood changes. It affects your mood. And so there's a lot of things that, you know, can present or come in with complaints that they're not aware of. So a lot of times that's also why we do a lot of screening as well. Vitamin D, you can really get vitamin D from just really a couple sources. One is the sun, and of course, you know, that's kind of you kind of walking a slippery edge, you know, with the ozone layer being depleted and stuff. But you know, a lot of people don't get out enough to enjoy the sun.
Yeah,
That's
we spend a
source.
lot of time indoors.
Yes, we do. Too much, especially kids. And then is replacement. You know, there's either a problem with vitamin D that you're not getting enough, or you're not reabsorbing enough vitamin D.
Okay, so what can impact your absorption rate? Are there things that you could be taking or doing that would keep you from getting as much vitamin D as you naturally would get just being out?
Yes, I mean, diet, like I said, is kind of a big role with vitamin D deficiency. And with diet, you know, we encourage, you know, and things that are kind of rich in vitamin D that maybe people aren't getting enough of is like fortified vitamin D. And so a lot of times that's in our meals and things like that for that reason to bring it up. But, you know, fish, particularly with yolk, is a good source. Fatty fish is a really good source for vitamin D, mushrooms. And so if we're not getting what we need from the sun exposure, we have to do with foods, and then obviously there's supplements, which will be, you know, vitamins that oftentimes we can use to get our vitamin D up.
Now, if you're taking a multivitamin, would that kind of cover you, or the vitamin D therapy is more than that? And what does that therapy look like?
Yeah, usually if it's therapy, usually it's going to be a capsule or a tablet with vitamin D. And, you know, we're looking at, you know, typically you want to see for an adult person, you want about 800 international units a day for vitamin D. And you can look on your multivitamins, they may not have quite that amount in it. And if they don't, you can just kind of substitute with, you know, an additional vitamin D just to bring that up to where it really needs to be.
And are there particular areas of the country that are more susceptible? When I was looking at numbers, West Virginia's numbers were pretty high about being vitamin D deficient, more so it looked like than some of the nation.
Yeah, and again, I think that all goes in the role of either you're in a lot, you know, you don't do a lot, although you know, a lot of West Virginians like to be outdoors for certain reasons, but probably more likely is the diet, because, you know, unfortunately West Virginia probably is not the best eaters in the country. You know, we usually rank #1 in obesity.
It's not our best thing sometimes.
It is not, unfortunately. But it's probably more often just not getting the vitamin D that you need to be consuming.
So should you bring this up to your doctor, or should it just be part of your annual exam that you have this conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's appropriate just to ask them up front. Like if they do lab work, just say, hey, do you check my vitamin D when you do my lab work? Because a lot of times they'll ask about cholesterol and things like that in their lab work. So that'd probably be a good thing if they haven't to check it. I usually tell the patients that we're going to check it, and here's the reasons why we check it. But if they don't bring it up, or if they haven't ever done it, you can just ask them, say, would it be okay to have that added to my lab work?
And should it be something that you're concerned about for your kids, or is this mainly an adult thing?
Most of the time, again, with fortified, you know, if it's an infant, if you're giving them fortified formula, or if they're feeding like they're appropriate, like they need to be feeding, that usually will be supplemented in it. We don't usually have to check vitamin D for babies or for young kids if they're typically eating the appropriate meals that they should be eating.
Okay, so mainly adults and older need to kind of be focused in on this and have this conversation with their doctors. All right, David Whitmore, thank you so much. We sure appreciate you, Dr. Whitmore.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. We'll see you next Monday.